That was the whole idea. Is to get over here. Thank you, brother. Thanks so much. All right. Right. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam rasulullah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa la sharika lah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah. And as I was listening to Sheikh Mutahir just a few moments ago mentioning the difference between the last time we were here in Hamtramck and now, there's big changes. You guys have expanded, grown, and really demonstrated what Muslims are supposed to be doing is put things together, work hard, and improve the condition of your community. And so I'm thinking that Hamtramck is going to become on the map, going to be put on the map by the Islamic Center of Hamtramck. You guys are going to make it famous. They'll be thanking you, mashallah. And that's good. Alhamdulillah, we really want to focus on a particular topic. As a matter of fact, there are a number of issues, serious issues going on in the world right now, especially with Muslims. We know that. But if you don't pick a subject and focus on the subject, then what happens, you enumerate all of these different situations. You begin to talk about this and this and this and this and use up your time to depress everybody because you don't come up with solutions. So this is why we take a subject, a particular topic, we'll focus on that, we'll see what is the problem and then what is the solution and then who's going to get started and solve the problem. That's the way to do it. And I realize that there's something called Syria going on right now, very much more maybe than some of you know because we've been there. We also are very aware of things taking place in other parts in the Gulf and in the northern part of Africa. Again, we've been there. You don't have to educate us about that. The idea, though, is to look at what is the closest, biggest single problem that we can do something about and then work to solve it. Otherwise, when you leave this room, you are more depressed than when you came in. And no solutions, nothing really out there to bring about a way to solve our problems and to be better off. And this is what we're about. So, how many of you watch Guidance TV? Oh, mashallah. How many of you know it went off the air on Wednesday at noon? Yeah, it sure did. The satellite, I'm talking about the satellite, which is, it's called Galaxy 19, went off the air at exactly noon on Wednesday, and there's no way we can really get that frequency back. There are too many problems with it, too much water under the bridge to fix it. That's bad news. The good news is that we anticipated that it was going to happen sooner or later, so we already had a new frequency that we were building and putting in place. It wasn't ready yet, but it was there. And we've been putting a signal on it, testing it, so when we lost that signal, the one from Globecast, we put the other one from Globecast in effect within about 5 hours. It's very compressed, its sound is not good, the video is poor, but it's there. And in order for you to see it, if you already have satellite, and you'll say, well, I don't see it, you have to change the frequency. So if you go to our website, guideus.tv, click on the link that says live at the top of the page, then you'll find that it says on it, I think you got it in front of you, don't you? We had planned to do this program live today, but because of these recent events, we were not able to really do that. Is that the app?
Yeah, this is the app.
Oh, let's go. I just want to back up one step.
It's going to take it all the way out.
It will?
Let me bring up the web page.
All right. He's watching it on an app. Well, you already took it off. Our apps are not affected by that. So if you watch us on iPhone, iPad, smartphone, doesn't work on dumb phones. But, by the way, did you guys ever remember the days back when people were smart and phones were dumb? Yeah. You know what I meant. The smarter our phones get, the dumber we get. Alhamdulillah. But those are all working. Those were not affected at all by this because that's a whole different server system that we have in place. So that was not affected. Also, the people who were watching us in Columbus, Ohio, over the air, that was not affected because we have that on a different source as well. The only thing affected was our actual satellite broadcast. And inshallah, that's going to be back up. The new transponder is 5. The frequency is 11836 megahertz. Polarity is vertical. The symbol rate is 20770. And the frequency is 3/4. And the channel ID is, of course, Guide Us TV. Now, if you were recording that, you got it. Go home, fix it, and you get it. Or go to the web page, guideus.tv/live. Bottom of the page on the left side, you'll find the new frequency. Also, we put on there our new apps. We've added some new apps. We've got some more coming. And we're now also on IPTV and on Google TV and on Roku. So all of that is coming or in place, and we'll be adding more and more and more. So alhamdulillah for that. Let me see what we got on it right now. Let's see what this... Now this is pulling from the website, right? So right now on the website, here it is. We're kind of happy about that. Some of you in the back, you can't see it. Let me lift it up a little bit. We're kind of happy about this because in the first day right after it happened, the broadcast was so weak, so condensed and compressed that you could hardly see, and it would freeze, and it would, I don't want to say stutter, but that's what it looks like. It looks like the image is stuttering as it goes across the screen, and the sound was really poor, but it's up, doing a lot better today, and we're happy about that. Now, let me explain what we were putting in place when this happened. We were hoping that it would stay on for another month because we've ordered a new system for high definition. And also, along with that, it's something called an appliance and a new system for indexing. If you've been watching it, you know that you never have any control. You don't know when something's going to happen. You don't have any idea what's going to be the next program. Or sometimes a program you're watching, it stops and another program starts. And that's because it needs something to index everything, and that's an expensive piece of equipment that does that. And it has to have a programmer. It means I got to hire more people. So rather than put any more money out there, I thought, well, let's just get everything set up, and we'll go to this step by step. Well, now we were forced to jump ahead, and this is why we've got to raise funds now, right away. Because we can probably stretch this out for another week, maybe 10 days, but then I don't know what will happen after that. I really don't. The equipment has been ordered. Some of it is on the way. Some of it is waiting for us to go ahead and pay for it. When we get it in, you're going to see some amazing stuff. You will then, inshallah ta'ala, be able to just look at our index. It'll say that this program will start at this time today, and on Tuesday, the same time, Wednesday, so-and-so will be there. And in a half hour from now, something else. Then on the hour, things change, half hour, just like regular television broadcasting. When we have that in place, you're going to see some amazing things. Already, even though it's hodgepodge, we call hodgepodge just there, And even though we've had problems with it, we've already been approached by Dish Network, and they've approved us to be on the Dish Network. But I don't want that yet because it means we got to pay them. Once we put the high definition in there and it's lined up like regular programming, then they come back and they'll offer to pay us to put it on. Or we can offer it free to the public, and then we don't take any money, but then everybody can see it for free. And this is what we've been doing right up to now. So nobody's been paying subscription rates. That's how we keep catching the non-Muslims who will say, well, it's a free TV, let me watch it. If we charge them even 1 cent, they're not going to come. They won't, because they'll be like, why should I pay money to watch something about Islam? I can watch the news and get the truth. The very opposite of what we need. So this is why it's important for each one of our families to make a commitment to do something every single month. And the more people you have in your home watching it, the more you should be able to try to support it, according to your own means. If you're doing $1 million a month, well, you can maybe pay out a little bit more money than somebody else. But if you're like most of us, then the idea is to, what? Okay. Give it to him next time. Don't interrupt the speaker. Unless you got like a fire or an emergency or something. There you go. Alhamdulillah. Where were we? Remember what we're saying? What were we saying? That's good.
About the family, the importance of the family.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to talk about the family now. Listen, all of us have got situations in our families. Some are bigger problems than others. Some of you have relatives that don't practice Islam. Some are not even Muslims. In some cases, the people you work with, the people that work for you or you work for them, have the wrong notions about Islam. And they've all got problems and questions. We have already provided the answers to some of these questions so many times that we recorded them and put them up on Tube Islam, and then even went so far as to write them up and put them on our newsroom and on our other websites. We have 2,400 websites for Islam. Alhamdulillah. Many of them are under development right now, and make dua that we can get that done as well. But the big thing right now for us is to see how to use what we have. So we put up one search engine called ShakeGoogle.com. But I like the other name for it. It's called Search for Islam. You search for Islam or Shake Google, either way. But you go to searchforislam.com and then just type in the keyword and you're going to get a lot of the answers. For instance, somebody could say, well, we don't know about the Sharia. And this is something that's happening right here in Michigan right now. I don't know if you know that. There was a judge just said something the other day, and it's in all the news now, and CARE is up in arms against them and what's going on with that and so on. But what about the average person? All he sees is the news. He's not going to see what CARE has to say, because CARE is only going to talk to Muslims. They might like to talk to other people, but they can't because there's no voice. You don't have a vehicle. There's no way to get the voice out. That's why we have to have our own news channel. That's why we got to have the websites. Because if we don't do it, then we're just like somebody standing on a street corner like this. You're moving your mouth, but we don't hear anything. And that's what we're seeing from the Muslims. Even, now listen how serious it is. Not only are we frustrated because people are saying what we know is not true about Islam, but our own youth are getting more exposure to the lies than they are the truth. Because I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you, anybody under 20 years old, how many of you spend at least 30 minutes to an hour every day on the internet? Raise your hand. Keep your hand up if you go over an hour in a day's time. Okay, hands down. Now, how many of you every day are spending an hour memorizing the Quran? And how many are spending an hour memorizing the Hadith? Did you see how disproportionate the number was? What is the majority of what's being done? And just real simple, how many are doing more with internet, text message, and chat rooms and Facebook than you are studying Islam with the Sheikh? How many are doing that? Be honest. You're spending more time on internet, Facebook, text messages than you are sitting with your scholars to learn Islam, yes or no? We know that. There's no doubt about that. So, how about this? If I ask our youth today, now some of our elders, I'm going to ask how many are not originally from America? Not born here. Not born here. Okay. So, in this case, you already have a different idea about Islam than your own kids. Your own younger brothers and sisters even have a different understanding because nobody has really sat with them and explained to them in a way they can grasp that Islam is absolutely perfect. I just got I had a call yesterday, I had some emails today, and I had a phone call, was it this morning, I guess, asking question about the qadr of Allah. This is just on one subject. Other questions about even doubting that Allah exists. And many of them are saying, why does it have to be Islam? Why can't it be some other religion? Why God can only accept one? This is amazing. This is totally amazing coming from a Muslim, isn't it? Why would a Muslim ask those kind of questions? Because of the exposure 24 hours a day to the wrong message. Everybody believes in Allah, raise your hand. Good. I'm happy to see that. Anybody here doubts it? You have a doubt maybe there's no Allah? Okay, that's very good. But listen to this. You guys can just shout it out if you want to. You don't have to raise your hand. We believe in Allah, so where is Allah? Does anybody have a different idea?
Above the seven.
Okay, I'm very impressed. Hamtramck is the only, listen to this, and I go to 3 or 4, sometimes as many as 10 masajid in the same week. I'm always in a masajid and schools. I've asked this question many times. This is the very first time here in Hamtramck that the majority said the right answer. Almost always the majority says Allah is everywhere. Almost always the majority say Allah is everywhere. And that's the belief of the Hindus, not Christians, not Jews, and not Muslims. So that's very good for Hamtramck. But that's not the only question. That's not the only question. After you say this, the next thing I'm going to ask you is, does Allah already know everything?
Yes.
And Allah can do anything?
Yes.
Is there anything Allah can't do?
No.
Allah can do anything.
Yes.
Can He be a man?
No.
You just said He could do anything.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Now the older ones, be quiet, because I want you to hear from the youth. It's not about us. This is about our youth now. Listen. Listen to what they're saying. So if Allah can do anything, can He lie?
No.
You said He could do anything. Can He cheat?
No.
You said he could do anything. Then there's some things he can't do. Well, let me ask you another way then. Listen carefully. Can he make a big rock?
Yes.
A really big rock?
Yes.
Can he make a rock so big nothing can move it?
Yes.
Even he can't move it?
No.
Wait a minute, you just said he could do anything.
Yeah,
So how come he can't make a rock that nothing can move it?
He could tell the rock if he could move it.
Can he move it?
Yes.
Okay, that means that the rock can be moved. I'm asking you, can he make a rock that cannot be moved?
Yes.
Okay, but then he can't move it, right?
No. He can't.
He can or he can't?
He can.
You sure?
Yes.
But then that means he can't make a rock that can't be moved. Can he make a rock that can never be moved?
Yes.
That means he can't move it.
He can move it. He's the only one that can move it. Or if he sends a message.
How many of you think this is a dumb question? Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a very dumb question. But why is it a dumb question?
Because Allah can move anything. Or anything he wants.
Yeah, but why is it a dumb question? Because, that's right. The question doesn't make sense. You know where this question came from? It didn't come from the TV. It didn't come from the internet. It didn't come from a text message.
Came from you.
This question came over 2,400 years ago. Before Isa alayhi salam, about the time of Dawood alayhi salam, or Suleiman, about that time. 2,400 or 2,500 years ago. And the question was being offered to who? Socrates. Socrates and Aristotle are some of the famous people in history for being big thinkers. And they did believe in God, even though a lot of atheists today think they didn't. But if you read what they said, they believed. But they didn't believe maybe what we believe, but they did believe there was some kind of God or gods. And when they asked them this question, they were trying to trick them. And the answer is very simple. Your question is wrong because it makes God like the creation. And we say, Laysa kamithlihi shay'un wa huwa sami'un basir. There is nothing like Allah. Not anywhere, anytime, any place. Nothing is ever like Allah. Even when we say Allah has hearing and seeing, it's not like my hearing and seeing. It is His hearing and seeing, which is absolute. That's why He adds this. So you notice He is Al-Basir. Not having some eyesight like you and me, but He is the seeing. He is the hearing. Just like He is not saying He has patience, a sabur, He is the patient. And any patience we have is coming from Allah. And Al-Wadud, it doesn't say He has some love, He is the loving. So He's absolute, the epitome of each and every one of His characteristics. So if you said, can God make a rock so big nothing can move it? The answer is absolutely yes. Nothing in Allah's creation could move it because He made it that way in the creation. But if you said, could He move it? Then your question became strange because you just got through saying He made something He didn't want moved. And He doesn't change His mind, by the way. It would stay there non-moved. If He wanted it moved, He would have already had a plan for that in the beginning, so it wouldn't be a problem. And anytime He wants anything, He doesn't move it like I moved this book. That's not how Allah operates, is it? No, He says, kun fayakun, that's finished. That's how it works. Simple. So you guys are very right on this subject. But if you got confused, I'm telling you there's a lot of other questions out there that are even more confusing than that. And these guys cannot wait to try to get Muslims to leave Islam. The missionaries in the Muslim countries have spent years and a lot of dollars trying to convert Muslims to go to Christianity. Many. And over a 20-year period in one of the countries near Asia, in that Asian area, they spent, I'm not exactly sure how much the money amount was, it was a lot. They had about 40 people converted over a 10-year or 20-year period. That's all. And they caused a lot of trouble in the communities. Since then, the missionaries take a new route. If you can't convert them to Christianity, at least convert them out of Islam. That's the opposite for us. If they don't want to become Muslim, I don't want them to leave Christianity. At least stay as a Christian. Don't leave Christianity. Because at least there's a hope for them. That later they'll be guided. But when somebody becomes an atheist and leaves belief altogether, then what's going to be their hope? So this is one of the very big realities that we have today, that they're doing that here right now on the internet. They're doing it with text messages. They're doing it with emails. They're doing it with websites. Everything that they can to put out this message again and again and again, attacking the very core of Islam. Another thing that they'll throw out there is against the qadr of Allah. Earlier we heard our brother Jazallah Khair telling us about what are the 6 pillars, the 5 pillars of action, the 6 pillars of belief. These things are critical to know and understand what's Islam. To believe in Allah, wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rasuli wa yawm al-akhir wa of the qadr of Allah. So to believe in Allah, the angels, His books, His prophets, the Yawm al-Qiyamah. But what's number 6? Qadr of Allah. If anybody's questioning that, if they have a doubt on that, where's their Islam? It's mandatory. This is not an option. You don't say, well, I'll believe in everything but not the angels. You can't say I believe in everything but I don't want to believe in the prophets, or I don't want to believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah. Anything that you take out of those 6 pillars of belief cancels Islam. True or false? This means when they're attacking this qadr, they are actually taking down Islam itself. And what they'll say, oh, well, you believe that in this thing, it's called fate or destiny or qadr. So if that's true, and then look how that, they say if. It's not an if thing for us. It is true. Allah said it. That's it. Final. Because if you doubt it, now you're doubting the Quran. You're doubting the very word of Allah. Allahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. And for sure, the qadr of Allah is something that He has willed it to be so. Now, I don't want to take too much time with this because it's not really our main subject, but I do feel like you need to know what these guys are trying to do. Here's how they will come to you. They'll say, is everything according to Allah's plan? You say, yes, of course it is. So if everything is according to Allah's plan, then you have to do what He wants you to do. So why bother to be a Muslim? At the end of the day, Allah is in control of everything, so why does He let this happen or that happen? Why is there storms, and why are there bad people, and why? They start this why, you know? But the reality, Allah always had it planned. They'll say, well, then how is it fair? Because if I rob a bank, it's not my fault. Allah made me do it. If I do a good deed, I should not get a reward because Allah made me do it. Allah made everybody do whatever they did. So how would you answer the question? And they know that most of the Muslims can't do that, so that's what they started working on again and again. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he told us in the last day that's exactly what's going to happen. Even the believers will start questioning the qadr of Allah. And today we see it. Is that scary? Imagine 1400 years ago, he said exactly what was going to happen. And our enemies are working on that subject night and day, trying to make people doubt Islam. And the answer to the question is simple. Allah knows exactly everything that's going to happen, where every leaf will fall. He knows when you'll be born and when you will die. He knows what you will do in between, and even the angels wrote on your head before you were born all what you were going to do, good and bad. So there is absolutely no doubt about it. So if you said, how is it fair? That's very simple. We said Allah knows, but you don't. You don't know that. So you are the one who makes choice. You don't have free will. That's another question they bring up. They say, where's your free will? Islam doesn't teach there's free will. And by the way, if they say they have free will, you say it means you can will something. Why don't you will me a new BMW in the parking lot out here with a motor running and free tank of gas for the rest of my life? Huh? Go ahead. Will it. You can't do it. That's what will really means. Choice is what we have. You can make a choice. Sometimes you don't get what you wanted, but you made a choice. You made a choice to be a Muslim. You made a choice to pray. Sometimes you don't get to pray. Something happened. You tried, but you didn't get to. But Allah gave you the reward for it anyway, didn't He? So what's the problem? Because he is only looking at the niyyah, the choice, what you wanted to happen. And this is it's so famous that the scholars of Islam, the big scholars, started their books with this hadith. The first hadith in Sahih Bukhari, the first hadith in Imam al-Nawawi's Al-Arba'in, the first hadith in Riyadh al-Salihin, all of them are the same hadith. Innama amalu bin niyyah. All the amal, all the action is going to be according to your niyyah. What was in your heart, what did you want? So that's how it works. And these people, they want to confuse the Muslims. And what we're saying is you and I must work to straighten that out. Not everybody has a Hamtramck community where everybody's doing pretty good. I'm very proud of you guys, by the way. And that's why we really wanted to come back and be with you today, because I want to see how you're doing, and I'm so impressed. Really am. I don't need to lecture you much because, well, I think you got some good teachers right here helping you out. But I'm promising you this, if we don't do something, the rest of the world out there, they're going downhill, not uphill. Now, in one country we visited last year, we found students, these are Arab children, in the best English-speaking school, leaving Islam in Arab countries. Because the teachers they have are missionaries disguised as teachers, giving them the wrong stuff. It's not part of the curriculum. They'll just slide them a paper, say, what do you say to this question? What do you say to that question? And they don't want to become Christians, so they just leave Islam. One sister with hijab came to me after the class and said, I'm not a Muslim. I said, what do you mean? You're in high school. She's not a kid, she's in high school. You're telling me you're not Muslim. You're dressed like one. You don't have to. It's an English school. She said, no. My parents are very strong in Islam. They're very religious. But I don't believe there's a God. I said, why? And she started those same questions I just asked you. I said, where did you get these questions? My teachers. And she said, when I went home to my mother, she told me, shut up, just believe it. She said, so there's no answer. I said, oh, yes, there is. I started giving her answers. She said, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. So because they put all the focus on giving them the English, and no focus on teaching them Islam, what do you think is going to happen? They can speak English real good, though. MashaAllah. It's kind of sad. Then this year we had one who got up on the stage, on the microphone. We opened it to questions and answers. And he's a Muslim. Said he was raised in Saudi Arabia, but he was in another Arab country. He took the microphone. He said, my name is Muhammad. I was raised in Saudi Arabia, but I'm here now. I'm 24 years old. I think that's what he said, 22 or something. Anyway, he said, and I left Islam. And we were on Al Jazeera, Al Arabiya TV, Guidance TV. We were live broadcasting this. And everybody just looked at him and went, oh. Now, it became my problem because I'm broadcasting this to 2 million homes. More than that, we had Al Jazeera there. That's what they say is another 50 million homes, something like that, around the world. And he thought he just dropped a real bomb on us, you know. But Allah put something in my mind, and I smiled and I said, well, you just proved something. You proved that a lot of people, non-Muslims, are wrong. He said, what? I said, yeah, you did. I said, these people here are your friends? He said, yeah, this is my guys. I know them, and some over here. Some of them were shocked when he said that. But he said, those are my friends. And they said, yeah, we're his friends. I said, what you just proved is Muslim countries don't cut off somebody's head if they leave Islam. So stop saying we do that. And he went, I said, did anybody cut off your head lately? Everybody started laughing, you know. I said, why don't you come up on the stage? And he did. I said, why don't you believe in Allah? He said, there's no proof. If you show me any proof, I would believe. I said, really? Really? Pick 10 people out of the audience. So he did. I said, pick young guys. They came up on the stage. I said, all you guys live here? Yeah. All of you speak Arabic? Yeah. All of you speak English? Yup. Good. You know this guy. So I want you to just tell the first one something and let him tell the next one to the next one, the next one. Let's see what we come up with at the end. He said, oh, you're going to try to prove the Quran. I said, just do what I tell you. So I took him forward a little and I whispered to him. I said, okay, here's what you tell them. Tell the first guy, there are 10 people that are hungry. 5 of them want pizza. 5 of them want the hard crust. 5 of them they all want pizza. 5 want the hard crust, 5 want the soft crust. And then they want to order breadsticks, and the guy will bring it in a Volkswagen. Can you remember all that? Yeah. He said, yeah. So I told the first guy. And the first guy, then he leaned over, told the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Got down to number 10. I said, come and tell us what you heard. He said, there were 5 guys, and half of them were hungry and wanted pizza, the other half didn't. I said, that's it? There were 5, and half of them... What's half of 5? 2.5 of them. So one guy said, on the bottom part of my body, I would like a pizza. They were always laughing. I said, are you sure that's what you heard? He said, that's what he told me. I said, where's the breadsticks? He said, oh yeah, I forgot the breadsticks. I said, so he told you breadsticks and half of the... Okay. So we went backwards to each one and heard their story. And when we got back to the first guy, he also didn't get the whole story himself. And when I asked this guy, I said, how come the breadsticks? He said, I forgot. I said, look at this. Even you forgot? And you just told me you could remember. Now, how many here don't speak Arabic? And there were some. But you memorized Al-Fatiha.
What?
You memorized Ikhlas. Al-Falaq. Al-Asr. Who can recite Al-Asr for me? And they got up on the stage. We had them reciting Asr. We had them reciting Ikhlas. We had them reciting all these different things. And the same 10 even, reciting and reciting. I said, did they make any mistakes? No. And yet this was passed down from mouth to ear, not from the people in the same room, but from people 1,400 years ago on another part of the earth. How? And no other religion has a book like this. Because no other religion has this method, the way to hear the entire Quran. For you, right now, you're thinking in Ramadan you're going to go to the masjid and listen to Quran. Am I right? And you have no doubt, there's a reciter, he'll have all of it. He's not going to stand there with a book and go, let's see what page am I on. It won't do that, right? If he did that, you'd be like, Sheikh, excuse us. What happened? We'll never accept that. Every masjid on the planet will have somebody, inshallah ta'ala, reciting Quran. From memory. And maybe it's from Bangladesh. Maybe it's from Pakistan. Maybe it's from Yemen. Maybe it's from Indonesia. Maybe it's from Texas. But they still memorize the Quran the same way. And when I said that, you should hear the audience. They were cheering. They were saying Allahu Akbar and, really happy. I said to the guy, so can you come up with something now? Tell me, do you have a book like this? He said, I think I need to talk to some scholars. I said, I think you do too. So what we're saying is that when the people, even the ones who thought they were atheists, when they hear the truth about Islam, it changes them. And this is something that we really want to focus on in our broadcasting. And if you've seen Guidance TV, you know we have many scholars there who help us with that all the time. Is there anybody here that knows a book that's better than the Quran? Yeah? Okay. If you will, well, I can't see you wherever you are. Huh? Okay. Can you stand up at least?
No, I was just saying some might say that.
I ask a very clear question. Is there someone here who thinks that they have a book better than the Quran? I didn't ask you to tell me what some people said on the internet. I have 2,400 websites. You think I don't know what's on the internet? Okay, suppose though, like our brother said, suppose somebody did say the Bible. And they did that to me about 15 years ago at one of the universities where I was down in Virginia, George Mason University. After our talk, we brought a Bible scholar who converted to Islam, and he spoke. I also spoke, and we talked about things in the Bible. We had someone else. There were 3 of us up there, and I think a sister also. But when it was all over with, we opened the floor up, and I said similar to about the Quran, how it's been memorized and all. And I said, is there anybody here who memorized the Bible? And a guy stood up. He said, this guy next to me, he memorized it. I said, great. Stand up. Let's hear it. The guy said, well, I mean, I memorized it, but I can't like recite it. I said, okay, that's fair. Maybe just, can you give us a little bit of it? How about Old Testament? He said, I don't know the Old Testament. I said, oh, so you just know the New Testament. Okay, that's good. Could you recite something? How about Matthew? No. Mark? No. Luke? No. John? No. Acts of the Apostles? No. Book of Hebrews? No. Then he mentioned a letter which is only 1 page. It's 1 page long. Okay? But fine. I said, at least recite that. Because in my life I never heard anybody ever recite the Bible. So I would be so happy to hear it. Please begin. This is a letter was written to... I said, excuse me, stop. Stop. I ask you to recite it for me from memory in the original language. You're speaking English. There was no English 1,000 years ago. It didn't happen till the Normans invaded the Saxons in the year 1066 AD. So you need to at least go back to a language that's from the time of the prophets. I'll accept it in Aramaic, in Hebrew, or Arabic. Go ahead. He said, I never heard any of those languages. So you memorized 1 page out of English, and you're not even sure what it was, and you think that compares to the Quran. Ajib. And all of them today, they don't know that the Quran is verbatim, the exact words, the exact message. It's not something where we have to sit there and try to figure out what's missing. Most of the Christians don't realize that what they do have of copies are many generations afterwards, and they're torn up into pieces, and where they don't have words, they laid out the pieces and looked at how the pieces fit together, and in between where words are missing, they guessed what the words would be. That's how they did it. And when it was a big blank and just a little bit of a framework, like a jigsaw puzzle, they would take what they already had and say, yeah, that's close enough. Let's just put all these words in there that they already had from something else. That they guessed that the whole entire book. And this has happened again and again and again. And many times they'll try to pass it off and say, well, there's a few words different, few sentences, but it means the same thing. It means what you want it to mean. And I know that because I've been in many different churches. When I was a Christian, I used to go to all of the churches because I sold musical instruments to them. I had to know what kind of music they like. I need to know what they like in the Bible, what verses they like, so that when I'm talking to them, I will show them what they like. And I know that they will take one verse, and in this church they give a meaning to it, but that church will give a different meaning. And another one over here will give another meaning. And some will even say, well, that probably wasn't in the real Bible. Like that. But they still want to believe. And so on. So, for anybody to compare the Quran, if they think they can compare it to something, they didn't understand what's the Quran. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. And they're wasting their time and ours too. Anyway. For those who are not Muslim and they want to know what's Islam, we have a website called What's Islam. WHATSISLAM. Not what is, just what. Somebody already got what is. WHATSISLAM.com, because when you go there, you're going to see video explaining the very basic thing. One of the things we always like to do, and listen carefully because I'm going to finish with this. We like to always mention what does the word Islam mean, because no translator ever translates it when they bring it to English. For whatever reason, it's the only word that nobody has tried to really put out there in translation. They say Islam. The translation of the words in Al Imran, chapter 3, verse 19, in Adina in the Lahil Islam. The translation, it says, for sure the only religion with God is Islam. But Islam is an Arabic word, isn't it? So why they didn't translate it? And throughout the Quran, and I'll just give you one other reference. Al-yawmu akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum Islam ad-dina. Huh? And they will translate it, on this day have I perfected for you your religion and conferred upon you my biggest favor, and chosen for you as your way of life, deen, way of life, Islam. Still says Islam. So if they don't know what's Islam, they'll just say, well, that's terrorism. Islam is, oppression. Islam is, and they're giving meanings to a word just like they do in their Bible. They don't have a clue. But the fact is, the word Islam is so powerful you can't translate it to English. It does not translate as a single word. It has a composite nature for English. You would have to get at least 5 words to get the essence of real Islam. From aslama, which is the verb, it comes from the root sin lam mim. Aslama, or aslama, is surrender. Now, complete surrender. And submission, total submission to the will of God, obedience to His commandments. Bear with me now. Surrender, submission, obedience. Now the big one's coming up. Listen to this. Sincere. You have to be sincere. That's in the word. We're not talking about the religion. We're talking about the word itself. Sincerity is there. Ikhlas, the real sincerity, is in the word Aslama. Surrender, submission, obedience, sincerity. Now, before I give you the fifth word, I want you to think about this. Can you force people to be sincere? That's stupid. As soon as you say force, there's no sincerity. As soon as you pressure somebody, that's not from them, that's from you. True? So can you force somebody to go to Islam? It's impossible. And anymore you can force somebody to love you. Now it's pretty easy to make them hate you. We've seen that demonstrated again and again. But when it comes to this word Islam, it has to be sincere in the heart of the person. They have to make the choice. And that's what the Quran says from the beginning to the end. Hadith are clear on the same subject of Rasulullah again and again and again. Anybody who comes to Islam is by choice. La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in Islam. And it doesn't mean that I can't make my child pray. That's a whole different subject. It means you can't force people to believe. And the verse right before that is what? Ayatul Kursi. And if you understood what it said, then you can realize Allah is telling you right after He says, وَاسِيَ كُرْسِيُهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلَا يَئُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ لَا يَكْرَهَ فِي الدِّينِ. You heard who is Allah and who is not. You don't want to believe after that? Okay, you don't need Allah's deen. But now you know, you understood. So if somebody really wants to know, all they have to do is ask God to guide them. And that's what I did 22 years ago. And that's what everybody does before they go to Islam. They ask Allah to guide me. And Allah guides them. And if you want to be close to Allah, you ask Him. And He'll bring you closer. And that's the real secret. It's not much of a secret, is it? Just ask. And it used to be in their Bible. I found some of it in their Bible. It says, ask, and you will receive. And we believe that. You ask, Allah will give it to you. Seek, and you'll find. If you go looking for knowledge, Allah will give it to you. And knock, and it will be opened. That's in their book. That's in the New Testament. They said, Jesus said it. Ask, seek, knock, and it will be opened. What will be opened to you? Well, I'll give you a clue. What is this thing called? A book. Well, it's Quran, yes. But it's a book, right? And if I want to get the information, what do I have to do?
Open the book and read.
I have to open it, right? So, what's the name of the very first chapter in the Quran? Fatiha. What does that mean? The opening. That's the clue for the real Christian who really believes in God, believes in Jesus, and he says, God, guide me. He's not praying to Jesus. He's praying to the one that Jesus prayed to. He says, God, guide me. And then what will happen? Allah will guide him. And when they open this, they'll realize it. And when they come to Idina Surat al-Mustaqim, inshallah, Allah will wake them up to the deen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, huwa alladhi ja'alna muslimin, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah al-Kareem, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. الحمد لله رب العالمين. So, do we have anybody with us today who's not Muslim? So far on our program, you've been able to follow everything okay?
Absolutely.
No problem? We're very happy to have you with us today, brother. What's your name? What? Your name?
My name's Jimmy Smith.
Tim?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. I'm getting old. Need to turn up my hearing aid. It's nice to have you
We
with us.
also share the same state.
Yeah.
You're from Texas, I'm from Texas.
Where in Texas?
Beaumont.
Beaumont. Ah, the Golden Triangle. Yep. That is where the oil thing started. Almost 100 years ago. The big oil hit down there in the Golden Triangle, Beaumont, Port Arthur.
Yep.
Yeah. And Orange. Yep. Yeah, see, I grew up in Deer Park.
Pardon me?
Deer Park.
I don't know what it is.
Deer Park, on the way to Houston.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a little village. Alhamdulillah. But anyhow, as far as what we talked about today, did it make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you thought about Islam before?
Oh, I am.
And did you ever hear the explanation of the meaning of the word before?
Yeah. This is the first.
Me either. Until I came to Islam, I couldn't figure it out. One day I sat with a really big scholar and they were doing translation, and when he laid it out, I said, oh my God, that's what I wanted all my life. What was I asking for if I wasn't asking for guidance? But we try our best to get that message out so people can hear it. And the more you know about Islam, the more you realize this is really the essence of what Jesus said. When I read my Bible and I look at the red letter edition where they put everything Jesus said in red, he's not saying I'm God worship me, I'm part of the three. You can read it and you go, wait a minute. Paul said something totally different from what Jesus is saying. Paul, for instance, in the New Testament is telling us that because of the law, I sin. If it were not for the law, I wouldn't be sinning. So therefore, the law is dead to me and I'm dead to the law. This is more or less a quote from what he said. But look what Jesus said in chapter 5, verse 17 of the book of Matthew. He says, I did not come to destroy the law and the teachings of the prophets. I did not come to destroy, I came to fulfill. And not a single dot or a jot or a tittle, it means, the little marking on a page or iota of the law will in any way be lessened until the day of judgment. And whoever breaks the least law and teaches that it's okay to break it, he'll be the lowest in the next life. But whoever keeps the law and teaches that, he'll be the highest in the next life. Now, I asked some preachers, did Paul say the same thing? They said, no, but Jesus came and told him something different. You say, really? So what are you saying, that God changed his mind and sent Jesus down to fix everything up? What are you talking about? It's very obvious, the more you study it, you realize that Paul's apparition that he had on the road to Damascus was not really Jesus coming to him and talking to him, because it's canceling out a lot of the things that Jesus said. And when he said it real clear, it'll go to the very day of judgment. And whoever teaches that you can break even the least commandment, and Paul said the whole entire law was dead to him. Then it goes on, by the way, and it says, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees, you will never enter the paradise. And the Pharisees were their preachers at the time that they had in the temple that were, we call munafiqeen, or hypocrites. They would say, but they wouldn't do. Anyway, when you look at the verse telling you that not a single dot or jot or iota will be changed in any form until the day of judgment, it's interesting to note that it's not English that uses dots and iotas, those little markings. It's Hebrew and Arabic that use that, because they have little tiny letters. There's one that's called a hamza, a little, you can hardly see what it is, it's just a little mark on a page. But if you take it out or change it, it'll change the word and the meaning of everything. And not a single one has ever been changed in the Quran. So, and I'm not trying to sell you on anything, I'm just asking you, what is your thinking on Islam at this stage in your life?
At this stage in my life? I think Islam is a more perfect religion than Christianity. It's a more truthful, you gotta realize, like my ancestors who came here as slaves, we were not Christians. We have 500,000 who actually made it to the shores of America, were Islamic. So it was something that our ancestry, consider yourself an African American, your ancestry is in Islam. So this is something that, not trying to be racist, but just simple truth. We learned that from, like the slave master who taught a person out of a house, to be a preacher, to not only keep us mentally, not only physically safe, but mentally safe as well. And so we need to, wake up today and understand, the truth. But you can always choose.
I'm with you 100%. By the way, you may not know this. Before I came to Islam, I was a white guy. I got over it though.
Yeah, but it's funny. The thing is, like there's like over 1 billion Muslims in the world, and all of them can't be from the Middle East. All of them can't be in Africa. So some of them have to be from, the European countries.
There are many. We just came from Turkey. Not Turkey. This year we were in Holland. We were in Holland. I was in that part of the world, in Norway and Sweden, and most of them had migrated from Somalia or from Arab countries, but there were some that had been there for decades and decades and born there, and their grandfathers born there. So there were Muslims really around the world. Some actually in Indonesia outnumber any other country. The number of Muslims in Indonesia is outnumbering all the rest of the Muslims in any other country. So, alhamdulillah. Praises to Allah. We thank Him. And if you want to get closer to Allah, and I know I do, there's a little 3 steps I can tell you about that'll hook you up, and they have to be in the right order. The first step is to bear witness out loud. I do believe there's only one God, and He has no partners, and my worship is for Him. It's a real simple statement in Arabic. And then step 2 is to declare, and I believe in all of the prophets, from Adam, Abraham, Moses, David, Suleiman, Jesus Christ, and Muhammad. And this is even more simple to say in Arabic, because when you say you believe in Muhammad, it means you believe in what he taught, and he taught us that. He's the one who told us, do not make any of the prophets higher than the rest of them. He said, in the sight of Allah, the prophets are the same. Some prophets, they came with books. Some had other kinds of miracles, but they're the highest in Allah's estimation. So don't try to make one higher than another. So when you say, I believe in Muhammad, you're accepting all the prophets. Then, after this statement, with sincerity, you'll feel something, because the heart starts beating a little bit different. It's on a new wavelength. Then you establish what's called sila, or a connection in Islam, and that's what we perform 5 times a day. It's very nice, because in it, it's everything direct connect between you and your Lord. That salah that we do, where we stand and bow and prostrate, is the same thing the prophets, all the prophets used to do this, and that's how they would connect with Allah, and then He would give them revelation after that maybe, or guide them to things that they needed, solve their problems, and so on. But with Muhammad, it became okay for all the people to do it, and then it became a commandment for the Muslims to do it 5 times a day, but Allah will reward them 10 times that much. So you get rewarded for 50 salah. By the way, a lot of people call it prayers, but actually prayers in English is dua. When we make dua, this is praying. They don't have salah because they don't have any connection. So we shouldn't call it prayers. I do, because I've just got the habit of it. But you guys are young. Try to get in the habit of calling it what it is, salah. And then if they ask you what is it, explain it's our connection with Allah. It's better to do that, I think. It's my opinion, I don't know. But from what I just said, do you like that idea?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready now?
Oh, no, not at the moment.
Are you ready to take step 1?
No, because actually it's the same thing as being in Christianity as far as the recognizing one God. But no, I'm not ready to become a Muslim at this point.
Okay. Step 1, to focus on this one, is when you know for sure there's only one God, He has no partners, and you're not going to worship anything in the creation but Him direct, the same way Jesus and all the prophets did. then you just declare that out loud. And in English we say, I swear there's no God to worship except one God, Allah. That's step one. Then in Arabic that's ashadu, which means I bear witness, an la ilaha illallah, that there's no deity worthy of my worship except Allah. Then the step two, after that one, is to learn more about Muhammad. And we have some books. We have a website called Prophet of Islam. If you'd like to go there, prophetofislam.com. And you can see some beautiful stuff, even non-Muslims, what they said throughout the centuries. What Gandhi said, what George Bernard Shaw said, and others who are very influential, yet what they said. And they had access to a lot better things than what we find on the internet or in CNN. And they said beautiful things about our Prophet ﷺ. So I would recommend that. That would be the next step. And then after that, the brothers can help you learn the next stages. But pray about it, meditate on that, and ask Almighty to give you the guidance, what He wants for you. And I'm thinking that next time I come, we'll probably see you as part of the congregation here. But all that aside, my deepest prayer for you is that Allah will guide you to the very best for you. That's my prayer for you. Ameen. Thank you for being with us today, Jim. Is anybody else is not Muslim with us today? Anybody else? I think we have some sisters that might be with us, and if that's the case, huh? Yeah, if our sisters have any questions, what they can do is just write them down and send them over to us. That would be great. I'd like that very much. And in the meantime, sisters, if you're listening to me, I know sometimes it's hard to hear because the other sisters are talking. Alhamdulillah. But I have a website for you. It's called Islam's Women. ISLAMSWOMEN.com. And if you're as soon as you go to it, you'll see subjects about marriage, hijab, and things like that. But there's also a section in there for questions and answers. So click on some of the links until you find where it says QA, and you can start asking your questions right there. And if you still don't find the questions, the answers to the questions you have, there's a website called Search for Islam, SEARCHFORISLAM.com. And there it's like Google. It's, in fact, another name for it is called Sheikh Google. We have that, S-H-E-I-K, no H after the K. S-H-E-I-K, Google.com. And type in your keywords and you'll be able to find answers.
So have any special words for these future interns and guidance to
Yeah. By the way, I'm seeing some potential cameramen here. We've got 1, 2, 3. Any others? 4. Okay. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
8.
Did anybody's battery go dead yet? Yours did? Okay, 8. So we're happy to see you guys with your cameras, because when we are later, when we're back here again, I want to see how many of you would like to learn how to use the equipment and be real cameramen on TV. And actually, in that capacity, and you don't have to be a volunteer, we actually pay you. We pay you weekly, very weekly. Jazakumullah khair. We got a couple more questions. It looks like people always ask me, how did I get to Islam? And that story is on the internet. We have it at YusufEstes.com, YUSUFESTES.com. The whole story is there. I don't want to bore you with it now. In other words, it says, do you feel like you were betraying your religion or your family or your country by becoming a Muslim? No, not at all. But everybody's different. Not everybody has the same ideas. When I came to Islam, I was trying to convert a Muslim to be a Christian. He was from Egypt. He was a very nice guy, and I said, I got to save him to Jesus. But the more we worked together, we traveled together, and that's why I wanted him with me, because I wanted to convert him. But the more we were together, the more I listened and watched. Not just listen, because I knew a lot of preachers could talk a good game. And his English was not perfect. It wasn't. But his actions were perfect. He followed Islam in the teachings, not just in his worship, but the way he treated the people. And our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is famous for the way he treated people the best way. Anas ibn Malik said that he was a servant to the Prophet ﷺ for, I think, was it 10 or 12 years? Do you remember? 10? For 10 years, he said in the whole time, he never blamed me for anything. 10 years? His wife said she never hit his wife. Imagine that?
Yeah.
Never. Other people said he never hit a person. Except when they had wars, something like that. But he didn't hit people, didn't slap people. He didn't shout at people. There's no evidence he ever acted out of character in his whole entire life. I mean, all of us would blow up about something someday, right? I mean, you just sit there like here you can be like nice and calm, but you get home, you get faced with a situation, you're like, what did I tell you? You know? He didn't do that. The most he would do is frown and walk away. In fact, there's a surah that starts out, Abasa wa tawalla, which is, he frowned and he turned away. But that's the most that he did. So I didn't feel like I was betraying my religion. I felt like I was understanding my religion a lot better because I was putting the Bible right there in front of me with many different kinds of translations. And even some of the interlinear Bible, which has Greek and Hebrew in it. And the more I studied that and then looked at the Quran, the more convinced I became that there was a lot of legitimacy in the Quran where there really wasn't in some of what we were reading in these different translations of the Bible. As far as my family, I wanted immediately to tell them about Islam so they'd understand a better message than what we had had up to that point. They felt that I betrayed the religion in the family. They did, but I didn't feel that. And as far as country, our country was founded by people who very clearly wanted people to have freedom of religion. That's what this country has as a part of the Constitution itself. That you have a freedom of religion, a freedom of choice to believe or not believe. And that, in essence, nobody should feel like they're betraying America by being a Muslim, if they're a real Muslim. But if they betray Islam, then, what's left after that? So when you betray, it means turn against or undermine Islam or your country, either one. This is not a good thing. The country of the United States is today following a lot of the good things that we know about Islam. The problem is we got a lot of people in legislative positions who are not following even Christianity, for that matter. And there's a lot to say about that. Here's a question. It said, it's not related to my topic though, so quickly I'll read it to you. It talks about when the sun's red twilight disappears after Maghrib prayer, because some mosques pray pray Isha right after Maghrib prayer, about an hour to an hour and a half. Is it allowed? There are a number of opinions about these situations. This is called fiqh. And in order to understand fiqh, the first thing is to understand the basis, aqidah. And once you have aqidah in place, then you get into these areas. You do not try to determine any of this on your own. You should always go to scholars that are versed in that particular area. And you don't take somebody who is, let's say, he memorized the whole Quran, so you assume he knows everything about Islam. That is not true. Memorizing the Quran is one area of Islam, to memorize it and recite it. But many of the reciters can't break it down and tell you what all the meanings are, because that's not their job. Tafsir of Quran is for that, and somebody who does tafsir of Quran, usually they memorize the Quran, but they don't have to do the tafsir. Usually they do. And the same is true with the Sunnah and the Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Again, if somebody's muhaddith, doesn't mean that he memorized the Quran, but he should have, but it doesn't mean he did. And if somebody's fuqaha, he's well versed in the fiqh issues, that doesn't mean that he is also well versed maybe in such things as the tatwil or the kirat and so on. There's different areas of Islam. So you don't really ask everybody who comes with a microphone in some presentation, don't throw your questions out at them like that. Because they might try to guess. Or they might say what they heard somebody else say, and then you'll say, oh, Sheikh so-and-so said this or that about the subject, and he's wrong. He's wrong, and then you're more wrong for not asking the right person the right question. Let's don't go to a doctor that specializes in ophthalmology, in the eye, and ask him about our feet. It doesn't make sense. And for sure, in some cases, we're going and asking him about something inside the human, but he's actually a cow doctor or a horse doctor. And so it's not right. But just because he's doctor doesn't mean he knows everything there is to know about medicine for everything. And the same is true here. Now, as far as your question, I will tell you that for sure I've been all over the earth, the north, the south, all the way from the lowest point in New Zealand to the highest point, I'm talking about Masajid. There's a mosque in Tromsø, Norway, where Sheikh, did you go with me to that one? Harris went with me? Yeah, Harris was with me on that one. And we've been all over. We've seen strange things. I will ask you a question. What do you do if the sun doesn't go down? The Prophet ﷺ said it in a hadith, there will come a day when you'll find one day is equal to 40. A day is equal to 40, and a night is equal to 40. And they ask him, what should we do about our salat at that stage? He said, pray according to the closest place that has normal prayers. What does that mean? He said that before people knew the earth was round. He said that before people knew about the poles. He said that before anybody even had an idea about it. And guess what? When we were in Tromsø, Norway, they told us it's exactly 40 days in the summer the sun does not go down, and 40 days in the winter it doesn't come up. Imagine that. And while you're up there, how do you pray? I mean, if it's only one day, I only got to pray 5 times in 40 days. Think about it. But we scheduled everything off of Mecca. Now some imams, they choose Stockholm because they have normal prayer there, but it's really stretched out. So it's up to the imam to interpret the way this is, according to what his understanding is. You follow your imam. So for the one who asks the question should not be asked to a traveling speaker. It should be asked to the imam who told you to do it, because he knows the ahwal or condition of the people. Don't ask people passing through about these subjects. Ask your own imam, and he will explain it, inshallah. This is from a sister. She said, there is a man that they know, their family knows a man who does salat. No, it doesn't say that. It said he refuses to do salat even when we try to remind him. And he watches bad stuff on TV. Okay, so what should we do? Again, talk to your local imam to get involved, to sit with him, because me saying something here isn't going to be a benefit. Also, when you have issues between families, I don't listen to a woman come talk about her husband, and I don't listen to a man come talk about his wife. You can, like I tell them, before you do that, bring me a coin that only has one side. Because you're giving me one side of a story, I need the other side. So both of you have to be there. and to do that. Here's a question. How do I answer a child who asks me where did Allah come from and how was he first formed, or how did he first come to be? That question, the Prophet ﷺ predicted this question would be asked. The people didn't ask him that, but he said it would be asked, and he told us what to tell them. He said, who's coming to you, by the way? He will ask you, who made the sky? You say Allah. And who made the mountains? Allah. Who made everything? Allah. Who made Allah? And what are you supposed to do?
Believe in Allah, believe in
Go ahead. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Just say, I seek refuge with Allah from the condemned devil, because this question is stupid. Just like the other one we asked. Yep, there's many answers to that. But Allah is eternal. He always was and always will be. And so if you say who formed him, nobody formed him. He always was. It's strange who will say this is the atheists. The atheists are saying it, and they're stupid because, listen, they're the ones who say the universe has always been here. They say that. But if you say, no, the universe wasn't, the one that created the universe was always here, they'll say, well, how could anything always be there? You just said the universe. Well, yeah, but the universe is different. Yeah, okay, it sure is. Thank you very much. Have a good day, you know. The universe is what was created, not Allah. Allah is the creator of everything, but Allah is not created. Hello. But they don't get it. They don't want to. So you just, for a child, one thing you need to do with that child is to get them away from whoever you're exposing them to, because very obviously they're getting that from television or school or someplace where they're hearing this from some very wrong-minded people, because that is not a natural question for a child to ask. Sheikh is reminding me it's time to move forward on this. Yeah. Why are we here? That's a good question. Why are people here? Why? To worship God. Actually, who can tell me what Allah said? What did Allah say about it?
It's a test to see.
No, he said it in Arabic. If you don't know it in Arabic, you don't know it. What did Allah say our purpose of life is? What? What? Aha! There we go. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. The meaning of it in English is what? Allah said He did not create jinn and mankind except to worship Him alone without any partners. And that's a derivative of the words themselves. I didn't give you the exact words because it doesn't give you all of that. You have to know what ibadah means. Anyway, why are we here today with you is because we want to see how you guys are doing in Hamtramck, and we're glad for you. And one of the other things is, I've already told you earlier about Guidance TV. See this? This bumper sticker right here will promote Islam, it will promote our beliefs, and it will promote our TV channel, and it will not get your windshield broken out. Because it doesn't say Islam on it, it just simply says worship the Creator, not the creation. I'm going to ask our guest, Jimmy, if you will, just that part of it. It says worship the Creator, not the creation. Do you agree with that? 100%?
100%.
100%. All right. And I've said this many times. All the Christians that I've met will say, I agree with this 100%. Because it is the essence of what's Islam, just like it's the essence of Christianity. This is what we have most in common, is that we believe we should be worshiping one God, not a series of gods, not man-made gods, but the one God. And don't worship mammon. Don't worship the dunya. Don't worship what is created. So that's a good reminder. And then what does it have? It has our address on the internet. They can go watch 24 hours a day 48 to 60 programs a day, all talking from different people, different points of view about Islam, what it is, why we need it, how we deal with our beliefs in this world. It's great programs. We have youth programs, kids programs, cartoons, and we have some nice nasheeds as well as Quran and Hadith. All of that's there every day. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 30 days a month on average, and it's constant. And this is how you can get a free bumper sticker for your car, one per family, and then this is how you support it. This little form right here tells us, you be sure to give us print real clear so we can read it. So many times I get them and we can't read them, we have to throw them away. Just print and tell us, number one, how do you want to support the child? You want to use a check? You want to use cash? You want to use a credit card? If you do, just put it on here. Then after that, we need your name, address so we can mail stuff to you, phone number, and be sure to give me your email and be careful that I can read the email. Because I like to send you some stuff from time to time and you can send stuff to me as well. So you need this thing to do that. You can do something one time today or you can do something every month. That's totally up to you. But do something. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He loves, God loves it when you do something regular, even small, more than He loves a big thing, but you only do it once. That's what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us, and I believe that. Do we have enough pens that everybody can have a pen? Do we?
Pens.
That everybody can have one? Yeah? Okay. He's saying that our brother Amr says that we have enough. I would like to offer that each one of you can have one of these pens. It says Get Guided with Guidance TV. And you got enough even for our youngsters to have one too?
I guess so.
You do? Okay. Well, I think what we'll do then, we can get somebody that, maybe you can take some of those, take
Want
this.
it like that?
Yeah, take this and the pen and this and to all the adults. And then when we're finished up, the kids can come over with pens. Okay, who wants this one?
Me.
Adult, are you an adult? How many wives do you have?
5.
Yeah, you got 5, you got 1 too many, sorry. Who wants this? Give it to him. Here we go. Jazakallah khair, sir. By the way, by your dress, yeah, Sheikh. By your dress, are you from Yemen?
Yemen, yes.
I knew it. The khanja gives you away. But also the imama. This is Yemeni.
Yemen, yes.
You guys get the best food, man. I love to eat there.
You can come with us today.
I'm ready. I love it. And they have a tea. Each country have their tea a certain way. The Yemeni tea is also very nice. I enjoy that very much. But I didn't go to Yemen yet.
Inshallah.
I went to what I call it Little Yemen, which is inside Doha, Qatar. There's an area, many Yemeni right there.
They make it, yeah.
Yeah, when you go in there, forget it. You're not in Qatar anymore. You're in Yemen.
This is Bab al-Yemen.
Yes, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I have very good friends. Ahmed there is one of my hosts there. I love these guys.
These are all questions from the youth.
Oh, we have a sister who recently came to Islam. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. But her parents don't know, and she's having family difficulties. What should she do? She wants to cover up and dress like a Muslim, but she's afraid they'll kick her out. Also, not treat her like a daughter anymore. Her parents think that all Muslims are terrorists. How can she be a Muslim when her family doesn't accept any Muslims? For sure, that's a big test. That's a very big test for her. For you and I, we have it pretty easy. Because when I go to my house, everybody in my house is Muslim. When I say, Alhamdulillah, MashaAllah, and they know what I'm talking about. I say, it's time for Salah. They're like, okay, let's go do Salah. No problems. But somebody who converts to Islam and they're in the home of the parents who are not Muslim and they don't like Islam, what can they do? They don't even want to tell them I became a Muslim. And it's serious because they want to believe in Allah. They want to get closer to God. But they can't. What can they do? This is where our community comes in. We are supposed to have a community strong enough to help them, to give assistance to them, to back them up. Now, if they're underage, like this person is less than 18 years old, there's some legal ramifications involved, and you got to be careful about that. You would like to help them, but you can only go so far. Otherwise, you can get in trouble. They'll make a problem for you. And if you tell them, well, like you can come and stay in the monastery, or you stay at somebody's house, and their parents say, hey, that's my kid, I want my kid back. And what are you going to do now? So be careful. I recommend that you find out some more details, talk with your local imam, and but keep this in mind. In Islam, they have to always be good to their parents, no matter if their parents abuse them. We have many examples of the early Muslims being abused and tortured and everything to leave Islam, but they still were respectful to their parents. So you have to tell them about this. Just because the parents are being bad to you, you can't be bad to them. It's very serious. It's a big test. Very honestly, a good test. But if you're patient and you pray for your parents, maybe Allah will guide them. Now, that's funny. This is right on the same subject. There was a sister. She was disrespectful to her father, and he passed away. Anyway, he passed away, and they were not communicating with each other. And there's a hadith, by the way, that whoever leaves their family like this is not good. And if they disrespect their parents, then Allah is not even going to look at them on the Day of Judgment. It's very, very serious. So it says, the question is, can she give her gold away to go for Hajj for her father? She has no mahram, so she can't go to Hajj alone. Yeah, she needs to talk to a scholar about this. I recommend talk to Karim Abu Zaid. Karim, that's Karim at guideus.tv, and give him all the story. And if you want, maybe he'll give you a phone number. You can talk to him, and that would be better than me trying to answer it. Now, here's somebody who wants to marry a newly convert brother. So this is a girl. She wants to get married to a brother who converted to Islam. But the imam said no. He said because he does not know his rights or her rights. And they live together unmarried because of this. Whoa, okay. Again, write to Karim Abu Zaid and he will tell you the details on that one. Karim, that's Karim at guideus.tv. Okay, you're asking about different groups within Islam, the sects in Islam, and approaching, I can't read your writing because you put all the words together. Nice. Those letters look really nice. I have no idea what you're saying, though.
Approach each other, can we pray together and pray for the funeral?
Again, write to Karim Abu Zaid and he can give you a lot of good answers on that stuff. Ask about domestic violence. You shouldn't do it. It's easy. It said, in polygamy, is it okay for all the wives to live in the same house? Islam does not allow polygamy. It never did. The subject in English is polygyny. There's a big difference between polygamy and polygyny. In polygamy, this means a woman, she can get married to many men at the same time. And a man can marry many women at the same time. But Islam permits limited polygyny only, which is, in some cases, that a man can have from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 maximum. In those days, they didn't have any limit. But there came a limit, and the condition is he has to treat them all equally. So, it's a big difference. What do you do if you can't go to the mosque in Ramadan? Well, again, you can. Let me tell you some websites, guys. for the answers to all these questions. The one about Ramadan, go to fastramadan.com, F-A-S-T, Ramadan, R-A-M-A-D-A-N, Ramadan.com, and look for the question and answers. You'll find that over there. On the subject of polygyny, go to islamswomen.com, and you can read about it over there. If you don't find the answer you want, go to searchforislam.com and type in the word groups, Muslim groups, and that'll give you the sect of Islam and about that, and maybe that'll help you. And about the treatment of the parents, you can also type that in. You can ask on Search for Islam, ask your questions on there. We'll give him time to finish up. Now, for all of you who have already made a donation, raise your hand up if you've already filled it out. If you already filled it out, raise your hand. Okay, give him one of the DVDs, right? If they didn't fill it out, give them time to finish. Whoever is finished, they'll give you a right behind you over here. Am I? I know. Can you hand me this wire? Yeah, thank you. Good man. Now, I feel better. I don't hear the echo in my head anymore.
Assalamu alaikum. While we're passing out the support for Guidance TV, I know that many of us in the Muslim community, sometimes we question the importance or the unimportance of whether or not to watch TV in our homes, whether it's haram or whatever. The reality is that TV, the television, is one of the leading molders of culture and identity. And whether we like it or not, our children are going to watch the TV. If not in our own homes, when they go to their friends' home. We were in London a couple of years ago at the Global Peace and Unity Conference sponsored by Islam Channel. And there we happened to have met a rabbi whose purpose was to help promote the Palestinian state and against the state of Israel. But that's beside the point. What he did there was to make a very important point. When we told him we were working to establish this TV channel for Muslims here in the West, he was surprised that there was no Muslim TV channel. Because, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, we went to, when we were in London in 2009 for a fundraiser for the Islamic Relief Project for the Water for Life of the people of Kenya, northern Kenya, there were at least 15, in London, there were at least 15 Muslim television channels broadcasting. When we came back to America, how many were there? Zippo, none. Maybe there were some who were owned by Muslims, or one that was owned by Muslims, but their programming was not Islamic content, and we all know the sad story behind its demise. So this particular Jewish rabbi, you know what he said? And when he found out that there is no Muslim television channel in America, he was shocked, and he said, "This is absolutely urgent. This is an urgent matter to have our own voice, to have our own media institution." So even though many of you may not have TVs in your home, you may not even watch TV, know for sure that non-Muslims watch TV, and there are many that are watching this channel and have even come and taken Shahada, alhamdulillah. Right in Denver, Colorado, where Imam Kareem broadcasts his show, there were people who watched his show, they called and asked questions, and then they came in Denver and they took their Shahada. I had the opportunity to witness the first Shahada on television here in America, right in Passaic, New Jersey, with Sheikh Yusuf a couple of years ago when he was doing the program there. So we have to utilize all of the tools that are necessary to try to convey this message of Islam, inshallah ta'ala. So please, ya akhwat wa akhwati fil Islam, please don't leave today without filling out the form or filling out the card and pledging some measure of support for the channel, even if it's as small as the cost of a cup of coffee a day. You know, Sheikh Yusuf, he loves coffee. How many of you would buy him a cup of coffee if he would come to your house and ask when you buy me a cup of coffee, would you buy him a cup of coffee? You probably would make him one, but he would maybe want you to buy him his favorite, caramel latte with an extra caramel. You see? If you would be willing to do that, you can make that donation to the channel. Just save it up at the end of the month and send it in to the address on the card, or you can go online to www.guideus.tv/donate. Well, Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. I'm surprised you told everybody about my addiction to coffee. Anyway, some of you thought that you had to donate in order to get a DVD. That's not the case. We just want you to fill the card out. Once you fill the card out and you're finished with that, then I want you to have the DVD, because it's going to help you to understand the programs that we're doing. You'll see samples of shows that we have. You'll see our newsroom, things that we're working on. I think you'll be excited like we are. So that the next time we come, inshallah, we'll bring the crew. We'll have a live broadcast from Hamtramck. You can't believe how much fun it is, because you can actually watch on your cell phone or your iPhone. You'll be able to watch what we're doing right here and know it's going all over the world, because we're all over the world on this right now. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it today. Now, I want to come back to your questions, ladies, one more time. There's 3 websites. Please write these down and help each other to remember them. The first one is Search for Islam. That's SearchForislam.com. The second one is Islam Newsroom. This is where I have about 2,090, almost 2,100 articles that we have explaining different things about Islam. That's IslamNewsRoom, IslamNewsroom.com. But you can't just go there and search, because it doesn't have a good search engine. That's why I told you to use Search for Islam. It will take you there. But every day we put new stuff up. Every day that there's some new things happening, we put up what we consider to be valuable news for Muslims. And then finally, ladies, remember IslamsWomen.com, IslamsWomen.com. Those websites will give you answers to every question you asked here. Just type in the keywords. Finally, we got a couple left. It said, is it okay to file for bankruptcy as a Muslim? Again, type in bankruptcy on there and see what you get out of that. And then, is it haram to recite Quran in front of a man with a soft voice? Yeah. Again, write to Karim, Karim, @guideus.tv. If we have any sisters who are ready to accept Islam, we will be happy to come over there. But I don't need to come over there just to hear the same questions that I just got through reading to you. And I already told you what the answer is going to be anyway. They ask about wudu, if you listen to music or go dancing. Yeah, ask Kareem. He loves those kind of questions. You have so many beautiful questions. I'm going to ask you guys, please write them to Kareem @guideus.tv. Fill up his mailbox. Give him something to do. That's Karim @guideus.tv. He called? MashaAllah. MashaAllah. He's getting text already, huh? And be sure to put this on your car. If you don't have a car, put it on your bicycle or motorcycle. If you don't have a motorcycle or a bicycle, then put it on your refrigerator. If you don't have a refrigerator, now you got problems. Yeah, that's a good idea. What else? We're finished. Okay, now is there anybody that did not get a DVD yet? Raise your hand if you did not get a grown-up. Are you here with your parents? Your mom or your dad? No, you're by yourself? How many of your mom and your dad is not here? Okay, if you're if you're old enough to drive around in cars and stuff, it doesn't matter. Okay? Your parents not here? They dumped you off?
Huh?
Don't you feel special? Yeah, I bet you do. They always do that to you? Your parents drop you off? Where's your mom?
Not really. My mom left after a little bit.
She left you.
No, she left me with my big sister.
Oh, I see. Where's your parents? You walked over here? You sure you didn't just get lost or something? By accident you came in? You wanted to be. Well, we want you here. We want you to be here. You're our brother. Oh. Well, I'll tell you what. For the ones who your parents are not here, I think we should give you a bumper sticker anyway. Okay? You can have mine, and there's some more over there. Why don't you take some of those, and you go on this side of the room, and you take some of those, and you go on that side of the room. Make sure everybody gets one. And then if you get extra ones, then as you pass by the cars out in the parking lot, just slap it on there and run. Don't put it on the front windshield, though.
We would like to let you know that we're going to be at the Tawheed Center, inshallah ta'ala, after Salat al-Asr this evening at about 6 o'clock. That's at the 29707 West 10 Mile Road in Farmington Hills. And then after Salat al-Maghrib, we'll be at the Islamic Center of Detroit at Mark Twain Street in Detroit. Tomorrow, after Salat al-Dhuhr, we'll be at the American Muslim Society in Dearborn on Dix Avenue, West Vernon Highway. And then after Salat al-Maghrib, we'll be at Masjid Mu'adh ibn Jabal. So if you'd like to join us at those occasions, locations where we'll be for the remainder of our visit, we'd be glad to have you. You want me to read the announcement again now? If you like to, if you can also go to our website, islamevents.com. All of the events are posted on the calendar there. Okay, so they're all after the salah, the different salah, inshallah ta'ala. جزاكم الله خيرا بارك الله فيك وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت واستغفرك واتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.